We want to discuss Amnesty International's recent report that they put together as a follow-up to the massive protests in Iran not long ago. I want to warn you, though, that virtually every word in all of these revelations is horrific. So massive trigger warnings on the topics of sexual assault, physical abuse, and rape as well. But it's important that people know what happened to many of the protesters, those who participated in that movement. They found and detailed what happened to 45 survivors of being held by a variety of different security services. This is 26 men, 12 women, and 7 children. And the commonality between virtually all these cases is rape, gang rape, other forms of sexual violence by both the intelligence services and the security forces of Iran. We have 16 of the 45 survivors they reveal whose cases were documented being raped, including 6 women, 7 men, a 14-year-old girl, and 2 boys aged 16 and 17. 6 of them, 4 women and 2 men, were gang raped by up to 10 male agents. And it gets more detailed. State agents raped women and girls vaginally, anally, and orally, while men and boys were raped anally. Survivors were raped with wooden and metal batons, glass bottles, hose pipes, and or the sexual organs and fingers of agents. Rape took place in detention facilities and police vans, as well as schools or residential buildings unlawfully repurposed as detention places. And they also provide some personal accounts of those that they were able to talk to, including one, Miriam, who was gang raped in a Revolutionary Guards detention center, who said her rapist told her, "You are all addicted to penis, so we showed you a good time. Isn't this what you seek from liberation?" And yeah, look, it's been a bit since we've talked about the protests on the show, and obviously every single one of those updates involved horrendous abuses of power and violence against those who were just fighting for basic human freedoms and decency. And to find out about what so many people, like this is the cases that they can personally report on, but God only knows all of the others, including many people who were probably abused in these ways and then just disappeared and were never seen again. This is horrendous. I thankful to Amnesty International that they were able to get this information so that people know what's going on there. But Maz, obviously this is really dark stuff, but what do you make of it?
Yeah, again, I was born in Iran. I left Iran at the revolution. And when those protests happened, the Masajina Amini protests happened, I was as active as I could be on social media to bring the attention of what was going on. And although the protests have quieted down somewhat, all of these atrocities that happened are being revealed and were being revealed at the time. I mean, they arrested tens of thousands of people. They killed many, many people, including young people, including children. And then it's unfortunately not shocking that this is what they were doing, because it is an oppressive and a dark regime. It has held the people of Iran hostage for 44 years. And the people of Iran, as well as people outside of Iran, want their freedoms from this, because it goes back to what we said in the main hour about the idea of living in a handmaid's tale, living under a dictatorship. Because what happens is they can do whatever they want. And in the eyes and the mind of the person that was saying to the prisoner, "Isn't this what you want?" as they were raping them, in the mind of that guy, he's doing the right thing and he's protecting the revolution. But it's clearly atrocious, and it's a crime, and unfortunately this country is where it is because the Iranian people and the revolution led us to this leadership. And so it's really, really horrible and horrific, and the world needs to step up and condemn them. I mean, and sometimes they don't, because sometimes the world is looking at their economic benefits and they're going, well, as long as we can gain something from Iran in trade, then what they do inside is not our business. And it's unfortunate that we live in 2023, where we as a world can't stop these sorts of actions from happening. It's really saddening.
Yeah, and you can even have, like they had at the GOP debate yesterday, Iran was brought up multiple times, but as a boogeyman, a vague, abstract boogeyman. The Republicans are never going to comment on this sort of thing, because the disgusting, toxic, weak, violent, hateful ideology that results in security forces wanting to do these sorts of things to people who are just trying to be able to show their hair freely. They support it here. It's not as violent. It's not rounding people up in the streets and gang raping them or anything like that, but it is the same misogynistic, hateful, homophobic ideology. And the world does need to condemn it and push for justice, which thus far there's no indication that there's going to be any. Even with Amnesty International doing this report, apparently many of the survivors raised formal complaints after they were released, because many of them did survive their horrific ordeals. And then many had to retract those because the security forces threatened to kill them and their families. And Amnesty International shared its findings in this report. And remember, they're naming specific people who were abused in specific locations. They shared it with the Iranian authorities on the 24th of November. They received no response.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's what this government does. I mean, they're oppressive. They were killing their own people. I mean, what government kills their own people when they're protesting for their freedoms? I mean, at what point does that government not turn around and go, oh, maybe we need to listen to our people? At what point does that government not turn around and go, wow, there's been an evolution from those 43 years ago when the revolution happened, and we have a lot of young people who want their freedoms, who want opportunities. They want this government to concentrate on making Iran a better place by investing in Iran and giving young people opportunity. Instead, what they do is they clamp down, they bring in their brutes to beat these people, these young people. They actually thrive on this kind of information because in their mind, this terrorizes others from wanting to protest. So you're absolutely right in saying that, what we see right now from this push towards a dictatorship in America from the right, from what Trump is saying, they're not necessarily saying, oh, we would do acts as atrocious as the acts that you just described, but they are saying, oh, a woman who decides she wants to get an abortion and tries to get an abortion, she, the doctor, anyone else involved should all go to jail. They should be thrown in prison for that. So you do start seeing the totalitarian thought that starts coming in, and once your side is convinced that you're right, that only your God is right, only your way is right, then you're willing to do whatever it takes to protect that God, even though it's the most opposite of what a religion would ever preach. Mm-hmm. They are willing to do it, and so it's hard to even read and comprehend that they're doing this to these young people. It's atrocious, and they should be fully condemned. The Islamic Republic of Iran.
100%. You're right, and you're right. The protests obviously involved, a lot of different issues and people fighting for a lot of different sorts of rights. Obviously, it began, with the horrendous, violent misogyny, and we see that in so many of these cases, and it really does drive a lot of right wing thought. Is the fear of women, the desire and need to control women. These people are desperate to set up hierarchies that definitionally make them superior, and that hierarchy is always going to include men above women. In every case, in every country, that's how it works, and you see that here in the US. And let's hope that it never gets that far. For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.